We are rolling for the first time in months.
Okay.
We're back.
Hey guys.
Hey. Welcome to our new home.
Yes. We bought a house.
Yeah, that's why we were away for a couple months, probably 3 almost.
I don't know. And this is a first episode about haunted Wisconsin. As we kind of teased before, we are both into paranormal stuff. We like to watch stuff on TV, paranormal shows on TV, and we both have experienced some paranormal things in the past as well. So we decided that we wanted to check out some haunted places around Wisconsin. So the first place we went was the Sheboygan Asylum.
Craig Naring. I've been investigating the paranormal for about 11 years now. The history of the Sheboygan Asylum actually was built in 1949. After so many years here, it turned into the Sheboygan County Comprehensive and Healthcare Center.
From 1969 to 1978, the facility became an acute care service for the mentally ill and offered an alcohol and drug rehabilitation home. In 1978, county officials discontinued the mentally ill services, and the facility became a home for the developmentally disabled and chronically ill. In 1988, a new code from the state on the care of these patients phased out the services offered at the facility, where it eventually closed in 2002.
So they did not allow us to bring a video camera inside. And that was something that we were kind of bummed about, but that's just a rule that the owners of the building have. And once they explained it to us, it kind of made sense. I think they just want people to experience it in real life and not like just look up stuff on YouTube and then never come and experience it. I was very scared to go. Like I wanted to go, but I was like, I'm going to be just a scaredy cat and like run away. But it wasn't as scary as I thought it would be because we were in a big group.
The initial reaction for me was just pulling up to the place. It was a pretty big, imposing building, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So it was kind of weird to have an insane asylum in the middle of cornfields. So
yeah. So the first place we went was in the morgue, which I was like, that's a great place to start.
Yeah, where they stored all the dead bodies.
And before we went in there, they told us that they had opened the morgue and that had created a lot of activity when they opened it.
They have a morgue here. Now the elevator would go down to the morgue, but it would get stuck. So we needed to make an opening. So Travis had made an opening in the cement to get into the morgue so he didn't have to use the elevator and get stuck. And when he opened it up, the next night we had some really crazy activity. I was actually grabbed that night, had something scratch me that night. 2 of our guests that do the tours here actually had something grab them as well. So it seemed like once we opened the morgue, something weird came out and we don't know what it is.
Is there anybody down here with us right now? Mark. Hi, Mark. Hey, Mark. Did you... What? Did you used to work here?
people we have down here with us right now, visiting us, our group? 6. Give me a number between 1 and 10. 8. What brings you down here, Mark? Well, I haven't talked to you before, Mark. I've talked to Stuart, but I haven't talked to you before, Mark. Tough.
That's where we started. But it was really cool because they used a spirit box, or some people call it a ghost box, I think. And that's basically where they use frequencies from the radio really fast. And that's a way that spirits can communicate with you. So they can take words and like answer questions and stuff.
So later on in the investigation, we went to, I think it was the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
And on one of the wings, we started kind of just doing our free roam. And one of the investigators had noticed earlier that we had equipment, and came over to us kind of discreetly and said, okay, so this specific room has some crazy activity, and told us very interesting information, kind of gruesome. So just be forewarned that it's kind of gruesome what happened.
What you're standing in right now was the alcohol and drug ward. Okay, the way they would treat the way they would treat patients back in the day for alcohol and drugs was electroshock therapy. They would strap them down. They'd be in restraints up to 23 hours a day. So as we progress through here, there is an area that we'll see if anybody feels anything. I'm not going to give you any information on it until after. So what we will do first is we'll go and we'll do a little free roam. Okay. After we do that, we'll start a couple of sessions and see what we can do. Okay. I'm not telling anybody this yet, so you're the only ones that know. Room 342. Okay, you're going to hear this story over again, but because you have equipment and it's something for you to just go check out. Okay. In that room, the patient, the man, actually chewed one of his leather restraints off, broke his teeth off doing it. Got himself out of the restraints. These doors, you'll hear this too, the doors all used to be locked, okay, they had a window. The nurse did not look, just assumed that he was restrained and went in there to check his vitals. And he literally ripped her apart, like her torso, everything was separated. And then he took a head dive out the window, killed himself. So we've had some super sensitive people, especially women that go in there and they just got violently ill. So I would like you and that's good. So I'd like you to go in there. It's really, really hit or miss right now, but take your equipment and check it out. Okay, cool.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting that he kind of came over to us and told us ahead of time.
It felt special.
Yeah. We did go in there actually, and I think we were in there for maybe 5 minutes. And I mean, honestly, personally, I didn't feel anything. We listened back to the recordings and didn't really catch anything, but that's just, it's just kind of what happens.
Yeah.
It's hit or miss.
In general, when you're watching the TV shows, stuff happens like minute after minute, every few minutes something's going on. But on the real ghost hunting tours and stuff, sometimes you don't hear things, sometimes you do. Some nights it's great, some nights it's not. I mean, like I always tell people, ghosts are not on our payroll. One of my lead investigator, Melissa, she was here with 2 of the other people on our team, 2 other females. And me and Travis, her husband, were sitting in the front office there. And suddenly I hear this loud scream. I mean, it lasted for, I'll bet you, a minute. It was just nonstop ongoing. And I'm like, what in the world are they screaming about? Suddenly I hear footsteps, them running. They all came running back to the main lobby here and said, oh my God, we just heard a lady scream at the top of her lungs. I said, that wasn't you? And she's like, no, that was them. So they literally ran from like the middle of the building all the way to the front. They were a little freaked out.
It was really interesting because the investigators like know who the spirits are that are there, and they know about their personalities and stuff, just because they do these investigations like every single weekend, and they take like it's open to the public certain days, and they probably do some private tours too. But they've learned like the names of a lot of these people and what they used to do and like all this stuff. So they were like calling them by name, knowing who was working down in the boiler room and like what they like to drink. They even knew they brought like, what was it?
They bought a bottle of Hennessy.
Yeah. But yeah, it was funny because when you were talking about how we're the nerds of the group, and we were like wearing all black and carrying our equipment. They're like, who are these guys? I don't know. There were a lot of people there with like flip-flops on, and I didn't think that was very...
Yeah. I was like, dude, what are you doing? There's like still, I mean, there was still old equipment in there.
Yeah.
In some of the rooms, there was some surgical equipment from like the 60s, I think.
Well, we always use a voice recorder because we want to follow up with anything that we got to make sure it's legit. Run K2 meters to check for electrical currents and stuff. REM pods, stuff like that, that will, if something comes close to it and touches it, it will light up the meters and stuff. Always go through our evidence to make sure it's legit. I mean, constantly people are taking pictures of the windows on this place, telling us they captured a ghost or whatnot. And, everybody has a certain point of view. They can believe what they want to believe, but we'll debunk a lot of stuff and say, hey, that's just like matrixing, or pareidolia is what you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. I guess I was expecting a little more activity, and I guess that's the thing too. You have to be patient when you're doing ghost hunting or paranormal investigation, because not everything happens.
The ghosts aren't there to entertain us, really. Yeah. Even though we want them to.
Crazy.
I highly recommend going to it. I'd love to go again. They sell out pretty quickly, but they do have a Facebook page, and sometimes there's people trying to resell their tickets if they can't make it. But yeah, I would definitely go again, even though we went once. You never know what you're going to experience each time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely recommend it.
Well, that's all for the asylum. Thank you for watching. We can't wait to go back there someday. And we do have another place that we went that we'll make another episode about. And then if you have any other suggestions of haunted places for us to go in Wisconsin, please let us know. It can be a little difficult because if we're not with an investigative team or whatever, we'd have to get like permission. So it might depend on that, but please let us know if you have any suggestions, and we would love to check that out.
Yeah. All right.
Bye. Bye.